Assalamu alaikum, my YouTube family. Hope you all are doing well. So, today I am going to start the series of reformers. So, basically, in the course of the Pakistan affairs in CSS, reformers are very important, and examiner frequently ask about the different reformers. So, to revive the Muslim identity in the subcontinent. So, now what is subcontinent? The present India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. This was referred as subcontinent. So, we have the different reformers, and that bring different types of movements to bring religion Islam in the subcontinent. So we have the different types of reformers. We have the religious reformers and modernist reformers. In religious reformers, we have Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi, Shah Waliullah, Dioband, and Nadwatul Ulema. These were different movements. And in the modernist reformers, we have Sir Sayyid Ahmad reforms. So first, if we discuss about the historical perspective, so these were is the Sufis, and there were the different chains of the Sufis, and basically these were the Sufi people who spread the Islam between 11th and 15th century, and there were the different orders of the Sufis like Junaidi, Baghdadi order, Chistiya order, Suharwardi order, and Naqshbandi order. Why we are studying these different orders? Because when we will study the reformers, we will get to know that these reformers belong to the different order. For example, if we study about the Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi, he was the follower of the Naqshbandi order. So and different reformers belong to different order, and we have the different religious tolerant environment, because these period of reformers was the ruling of the Mughal emperor, especially Akbar and Jahangir. So we have Deen Ilahi movement, Bhakti movement, and Baba Guru Nanak talks. These all were things happening in subcontinent. Bhakti movement was basically to prevent the Shudras, because there are the different classes of the people in Hinduism, Brahmins, Shudras. So, by looking at the Muslims, the generosity of the Muslims, many Shudras were converting into the Islam. So, to prevent this, there was a movement known as Bhakti movement was used. And we will start with the Mujaddid Alf Thani. So here I have the quotation of Khwaja Bakhtiyar Kaki, which is quoted by S.M. Akram, that Sheikh Ahmad, an individual from Sirhind, rich in knowledge and vigorous in action, I associated him for a few days and found marvelous things in his spiritual life. He will turn in a light which will illuminate the world. Basically, quotations are very important to include in your questions. Pakistan's affairs question attempting without quotations, you will not get the marks. So it is very important to remember quotations, to cram the quotations and write in your paper. So he was the second Muslim reformist of the millennium. The first Muslim reformist was considered as Hazrat Umar, and he was the second Muslim reformist. His real name was Sheikh Ahmad, and Sirhindi because he was from the Sirhind, which is the part of eastern Punjab during the Mughal rule over the India, the Punjab of India. And his father name was Sheikh Abdul Ahad. He was the descendant of second Caliph Hazrat Umar Raziallahu Ta'ala Anha and Hazrat Abdullah, the son of Hazrat Umar ibn Khattab. So background is necessary. In background, you have to tell the date of birth. He was born in the 26th June 1564 at Sirhind, was the capital of the Eastern Punjab. So we have to tell the background that from where the Sheikh Ahmad Brown belongs to, and he was the discipleship under the discipleship of Khwaja Baki Billah. So basically the Sufis, the saints, and the reformers, they are the students of the another leaders are another saints, their teachers. So the name of the teacher of Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi was Khwaja Baki Billah. So we have here different books, and in the last I will also discuss other magazines and the contribution of those magazines for the revival of religion of Islam in subcontinent. So these are very important. and you have to write in the contributions of Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi. So we have Asbate Nabuwa, Risala Tahlila, and Rabubiyat. So Risala Tahlila, he emphasized the concept of Tawheed and Laila against the Akbar Biddat Sharia. And Rabuyat, we have the Tafsir of Rabiut of Baki Billah, and we have the Marafat Ilahi. So these are like typical names because they were written in the Persian language. So we have to remember to write in the contributions or books and magazines of Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi. So the timeline of Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi was in the 1564 to 1624. That's why he is known as the second reformer of the millennium, because millennium is refers to the first million, refers to the 1 to 1000 years. Second millennium refers to 1000 to 2000 years. So Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi, when he was a reformer, there was the period of the ruler Mughal emperor Akbar, and he thought that Indian ruler Muslims were intellectually corrupt and we need to establish Islam. He started his movement against Deen-e Ilahi in the time period of Akbar and was successful in the days of Jahangir. Akbar political concepts contradiction of the Islamic political system. Basically, Akbar manipulated the religious, the Islamic teachings of the Islam, and what did Akbar did the amalgamation of all the different religion that existed during that period. He was a very liberal type of the person. So Deen-e Ilahi, what was a Deen-e Ilahi? Deen-e Ilahi was a sacrifice of self, money, respect, and religion for the monarch. It was optional. No one was forced to join, and it was limited to court only. But basically, it was against the teachings of the Islam. And we have to study the prevailing socio political environment, because whenever the examiner asks, he will ask first, he will discuss about the socio political environment. So socio-political environment, the un-Islamic practices, there was the prostration was common before the rulers. Rulers were known as the Ilahi, saying Allahu Akbar and Jalalahu, translated to may his glory be glorified. Discontinuation of jizya. What is jizya? Jizya is basically the tax imposed on the non-Muslims that they have to pay if they live on the land that is conquered by the Muslims. And that is the concept we study in Islamiyat, that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the conquer of the Khaybar land, he imposed jizya on the Jewish people because they were living on the land conquered by the Muslims. Slaughter of cow was prohibited, bird catching, fishing was also banned, marriage with non-Muslim, because Akbar married with Rajput lady. So marriage with the non-Muslim was very common during that period, and non-Muslim were positioned at important position. So all the in the court of the Akbar, we have the important positions seen given to the non-Muslims. And we have then the Shaitan Pura, like great migration of prostitutes from 1570. They were pouring into Fatehpur Sikri from all over India. So basically all types of the haram things that Islam declared them haram and harmful for the humans were all legalized during the period of Akbar. So, what was the threats to Islam? We have that was riba, gambling, and bribery, and sharab was declared as halal. Ban on salat and hajj, eating allowed in Ramzan. Various mosques were demolished, and sources of law. So, what are the sources of law in Islam? We have the Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah. But Akbar changed those sources of law, and fatwas were issued in his court. They are these fatwas were in favor of Akbar. So basically, the law and system, the Sharia system of Islam is changed, and Jinno Malai Karamat, angels were declared as false, and Azab Qabr declared as false. So basically, these all things are against the basic teachings of the Islam, or against the basic teachings of the Islam, the basic teachings of the faith of the Islam. Because believing in angels, believing in the prophethood, the oneness of God, these are all the uh, uh, things that make a person Muslim. And we have seen the bhakti movements that was sought to bring the religious reforms to the all strata of the society by adopting the method of devotion to achieve the salvation. I previously discussed the bhakti movement with you guys. So his efforts was a threefold strategies. He trained some of his disciples. What do you mean by the disciples? Disciples means students, followers were sent to all the directions to preach the true Islam and concept of Tawheed, the oneness of God. Emphasize Ittibai Sunnah. What do you mean by the Ittibai Sunnah? Means the revival of Sunnah, the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and commandments of Sharia. And then he also begins the correspondence with the prominent scholars of all the neighboring Muslim countries and took the leading nobles near the emperor into his discipleship and influenced them to bring in the life of the court. And example, so he took into his confidence multiple people, multiple leaders, and explained them the concept of Tawheed. And we have the Abdur Rahman Khane Khanan, Khane Azam, Mirza Aziz, Mufti Sardar. So these are you can remember these names, but if you cannot, there is no problem, no issue. So you can remember these names to include that who were the people actually influenced. He was imprisoned in 1605 by Jahangir after the death of Akbar and later released by Jahangir. He also took him in his discipleship. So here we have the quotation of the Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi. If Muslims want to live as a nation, they have to quit the talk of shirk and biddat. They stay separate from the Hindus. If awareness of separate national identity is not awakened in Muslims, it is feared that it would be swept away with the flood of combined nationhood and Islam become absurd in the soil and would be destroyed like Buddhism and other religions which have been observed in Hinduism. So basically, he was the one who was the founder of the two nation theory that Muslims and Hindus should have the separate homeland. And then comes the concept of Wahdat al-Wujud and Wahdat al-Shuhud. Wahdat al-Wujud was the concept given by the Ibn Arabi. So basically, this concept was deteriorated by Akbar, and he said that God reside inside me, so prostrate in front of me, and there is no difference between the God and the creation. So to counter effect the Wahdat al-Shaud was given by Hazrat Mujaddid Alf Thani and Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi. He said that creator and creatures were two different and separate entities, strengthening Muslim nationhood. He was a strange advocate of Muslim separatism, adopted very stern attitudes toward the Hinduism, and he wanted jizya, the tax, to be reimposed on the Hindus and demanded the destruction of Hindu temples. The swing of balance from the heterodoxy of Akbar to the orthodoxy of Aurangzeb. He basically curtailed the adulteration of Islam, and Akbar's Deen-e-Ilahi and widespread concept of Karamat and those has greatly affected the basic beliefs and teachings of Islam. So he focused on the namaz and fasting. Ittibat Sunnah, the ulema and theologians of those days has ceased to refer to Sunnah in their sermons and commentaries. So Mujaddid Alf Thani revived their tradition to use the Sunnah. He was the one who sown the seeds of two nation theory. It is believed that Muslim society in India would have consumed the Hindu society long ago if Mujaddid Alf Thani has not revived Islam in subcontinent. And last, we have the quotation of the Allama Muhammad Iqbal. I visited the shrine of Hazrat Mujaddid Alf Thani. The dust of his shrine is a source of illumination. The particles of the dust are more brilliant than the star, and this dust lies buried the great saint, the knower of secrets, who refused to bow his head before Jahangir. So this is all about the Sheikh Ahmed Sirhindi, and in the next video, in the next part, I will tell you the summary of this whole lecture, and we will also discuss the past paper question and how we have to attempt the past paper question. So thank you for watching.